Hey, what's up?
Ready for book club?
I am obsessed.
This is the worst.
What do you mean?
What? No, idiot.
Welcome to book club. Welcome to book club.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
Welcome back to book club.
Welcome back to book club.
We're really tired, but I don't know. It might be a short episode.
We always say that, but then
We're doing the best
we
we
talk for
can.
48 years.
Then we talk for an hour.
So
This one really might be. Maybe not. We'll see.
could be.
Just be prepared for anything.
Literally.
If you're at book club, be prepared for
You
anything.
never know what you're going to get.
A natural disaster could strike.
Could.
Who knows?
I'm in Florida.
Could be.
Like, I could actually just
So
fall
true.
into the ocean at any given point.
Yeah, you
You
know,
know?
we're living on the
Living on the
edge. Sorry, I look like Satan's asshole. Oh, hold on, I got a hair in my mouth.
I also look like dick and balls, which is unfortunate.
I didn't put any makeup, and I just got out of the shower.
I put on mascara
What can you
and glasses to distract from the fact that my skin is having a meltdown and unleashing hell on earth. So,
do? Well, I think you're beautiful.
yay for being a woman. Can we have one
I
thing,
think you're beautiful.
one moment of peace?
Literally. You know what? You know what's something I do want to talk about? Okay, sorry. Back to
Yeah,
book club.
we're
We're talking kind of about Serpent and Dove. You know what? I'm going to change that for the episodes because we haven't finished this book. I'm going to change that to the talking of like referencing the book that we're doing that week. Sorry if you can hear my dogs barking. Really can't do anything about it. They don't listen to me. Is that I want to say like the book we're reading right now is this, because sometimes we're not really talking about the book. Sometimes we're just in the mindset
Of the book.
that we're currently reading at that time.
Precisely.
So we are currently reading
Serpent
and Dove
by Shelby Mahurin.
by Shelby Mahurin.
Mahurin? Who knows? But Shelby kind of popped up with
Shelby,
this.
That one. She kind of did, dude. What page are you on?
I'm in the middle of a chapter because I was reading at work. Don't tell anybody.
Wow, yes.
I'm in the middle of a chapter, so I'm on page 449.
Oh, I'm almost exactly 100 pages behind you. I'm on page 359. So 110 pages.
Oh,
No.
you're about
90
to get
pages?
to such a good place.
Oh, yeah. Well, a good place just happened because they had their spice scene, and I was eating
Oh,
it
shit is
up.
about to hit the fan.
Oh, I believe it. I could tell by the way that she was I don't want to spoil anything yet because that'll be for next week's episode when we actually deep dive into this book. But I could tell when she was about to have that talk with Reed, and then the Archbishop appeared and was like, "You have to leave. I'll stay with her." Which bad vibes, bad vibes, bad vibes.
The twist in the Archbishop was something I was genuinely not expecting at all whatsoever. Same with Lady Mademoiselle, what's her face? The one who's being the one who's being crazy weird about.
She is being crazy weird in that little moment. Okay, no, I'm gonna spoil it. I don't want to do that yet.
You guys have to read this book,
but
though.
The mommy issues that are happening. The mommy issues that are happening.
Yeah.
Okay. But I jumped back to this because y'all have to read this book. It's let me just read you the back. Bound as one to love, honor or burn. A witch and a witch hunter thrust into holy matrimony. There was only one way the story could end: a stake and a match. That is that's a crazy thing to put on the back of a book.
It does, yeah. Like it literally doesn't even give you.
It takes place in like old timey France during what I'm assuming is their version of like the Salem witch trials.
Yeah. It's giving.
So I will say, surely this book will be easier to. It's very easy to read, but a lot of the lore and the world building surely would be easier if you
have a basic understanding.
French witch trials, because I only had any knowledge of like
Salem
witch trials, but I know that it's
it
was different in France.
Yeah.
You have the Catholic Church or some type of
religion.
church. I'm assuming it's
religio
Catholic.
cult shit.
With like the archbishop, the archbishop, the archbishop, and then like the witches, and there's brothels and shit's crazy.
There's whores,
right? It's a ton
and
of
then there's
heathens.
men,
There's whores,
and there's witches.
And I wanted, because you had just said, can't women have one thing?
Yeah.
And you know what they can have?
Witches.
Being a witch.
Yeah. Men don't get that.
They
You've
can have
gotten to
witches.
that part where they're like, boy witches like don't exist because the power only gets sent to the
Yes.
women, which is not a spoiler at all in the
Yes.
slightest. Is that like
And you know
common
what I wanna
knowledge?
know?
Like as far as like
Yeah. Well, because
witch
here's the
lore
thing: is I
goes?
know there's like I've always known like fantasy witch lore where it's like Harry Potter is
Right.
A wizard.
yeah.
The male version of a witch is a wizard, but there was no witch trials for men.
There was no wizarding
And you can-
trials.
Yeah, it's because it was really just a way to kill the women.
Yeah.
Except in this book, there are real witches, and not to say that that witchcraft isn't real.
I hope it is.
But I hope it is too in a way, but I feel like this book has made me want to do some like real research into the different type of witch trials and the different witch
Yeah.
lore. And cuz I've heard, obviously I think we talked about this 2 episodes ago, where there's the TikTok witches,
Mhm.
and that's like kind of becoming a new common thing. And I've always seen things like, I was raised Southern Baptist, and I still have a lot of like the foundation of a lot of my beliefs still come from that, or come from Christianity. But I know that like the Christian church goes a little crazy, and I'm not actively going to a church these days. But as somebody who has like beliefs in that, I've always known that like there are certain things that are in Christianity that were derived from like pagan rituals and pagan celebrations, especially a lot of like Christmas.
Yeah.
Like there's things in this book where Reed, the witch hunter, is like saying like, oh, we're celebrating Noel, which is like pretty sure in French that just means Christmas.
Yeah.
Like the song, the first Noel, I think, pretty sure it's the first Christmas, basically. But she's calling it Yule. And in Harry Potter, they call
Yule
it the
Ball.
Yule Ball.
Hey, that's what we're going
And
to.
so it's like, we are going to the Yule Ball. I'm so excited.
We are going to a Yule Ball, you guys.
We are in San Francisco.
We're going to have a very good time.
It's going to be, we're going to have a very good time. It's going to be very
It's going to be
good.
very good. I'm going to
gonna
have a very good time at the Yule Ball. Okay,
But
sorry for being
anyways,
weird.
I know that there are certain things. Sorry being
We
freaked on
gotta get it out.
Um,
It's like a rabid animal inside of us.
Yeah, we haven't talked all day long because Maddie has this fuck ass big
Because
girl
I have
job.
to work.
If I could, I know I really hate it. I want to be your sugar mommy, but I don't have enough money.
That'd be pretty cool.
It'd be pretty
That'd
cool.
be pretty cool.
Or you could just send more people to come watch book club.
Literally. You
Gosh.
guys, you really have to tell your friends
Seriously, get
and your
with
mom
it.
and your witch buds and
Yeah.
let them know.
But anyways, back to what I was saying was, I know there's a lot of things that are like derived from like pagan, but I'm like, what? I don't fully understand like what that means. People say, like, oh, it's like a pagan ritual. What is pagan?
yeah.
Does that just mean witches, or are there different categories? The way that there's different categories of like Christianity, like I really want to know, because a lot of the things that they're saying in this book, obviously this book is fantasy, but there was one thing that stuck out to me that I never really thought about before. When our main girl Lou is talking to Reed, they're the love interests in the book, and the perspectives that we get is Lou and Reed. And sorry if you can hear the ambulance happening.
You can't.
Jeez, nobody wants me to have a good time.
I can't hear it. It's good.
But it's like they're talking, and he's saying like something about blah 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 blah, his, God or whatever, his beliefs, and she's like, well, our beliefs are just from women. Like, it's from there. He was like, oh, you believe in God? Because oh, yeah, so that's what happens. She references God. She's like, oh, God gave me something. And he's like, you believe in God? And she was like, well, yeah. And he was like, well, I just assumed because, like, you haven't read the Bible. You never go to mass. And she was like, I didn't say I believe in your God. Your God
Hates women.
From what I have read, hates women. Your archbishop thinks that I am your property. And this was the first moment you get Reed saying, like, well, maybe the archbishop is not always right. And something that I thought about, I don't know if it was in this book or if it was something I saw from a witch on TikTok. Because I think it might have been TikTok, but it was some girl talking about, like, it is the only religion, not really religion, but, like, only spirituality, the only one that really comes from and is about women.
Paganism?
Or just, like, I don't know if I don't want to say, like, paganism for sure, because I don't want to get on the internet and say,
I
like,
have
it's
the
this.
I've
But,
got
like,
it pulled up.
witchcraft or like the definition. Okay, yeah, let me know.
So it says, according to Google's AI overview, paganism is a spiritual movement that includes a variety of groups who practice nature-based polytheistic religions. Pagans may also be referred to as Wiccans. Wiccans? Is that right?
I've heard that.
Wiccans, witches, heathens, druids, and more. Some characteristics of paganism include beliefs. Pagans believe that the divine is present in nature, not in the sky, and that the divine is both male and female. They also believe that nature is sacred and the cycles of birth, growth, and death have spiritual meaning. Practices. Pagans may practice rituals that include chanting, dancing, breath exercises, and concentration. They may also use objects like candles, jewelry, or altars as a focus for their intentions. Origin. The word pagan comes from the Latin word paganus, pagan, but with a US on the end, which originally meant country dweller or civilian. During the Roman Empire, it was used to describe people who practiced religions other than Christianity, Judaism, or Islam. Terminology. The use of the terms pagan and paganism has declined among many Christians in recent decades. This is due part to concerns about Eurocentrism and racial prejudice, as well as the promotion of ecumenism and the interfaith movement. Wait, am I a pagan?
I was about to say the same thing. Am I a pagan?
I've never been a religious
because
girly,
hear me
but
out.
I've always been a spiritual girly.
The only thing that's different for me is that, like, the sky thing is, like, I do believe in, not like in the sky, but, like, I do believe in a heaven and a hell. And I don't know if that falls into those categories, but I have always very much believed, like, there is so much more spirituality in the world and in nature, and
it's always made me insanely irritated, even as a young child. Carrie knows this, but my extended family was very Catholic. I did not have a Catholic upbringing. Don't think I'm crazy or, like, weird. Shout out to the Catholics. You guys are not chill as fuck.
You're hanging in there, but
you guys are not chill as fuck. But, like, if you're Catholic, all props to you. You do you, my man. But it always pissed me off so bad when I would, like, go to church, and I didn't go to, like, I went to a Catholic church maybe 3 times, and one of them was to get baptized, and then after that I, like, did not go to church. But I would go to church with, like, my friends in elementary school, because, like, when you have sleepovers on a Saturday night, guess what? Sunday morning in Southern Baptist Texas, Sunday morning you're waking up and you're going to church. You are going to that damn church.
And if you don't go to church with your friends, if you don't go, then you have to go home, and you don't get to hang out with your friends more. So you suck it up and you go.
Wake up at the ass crack of dawn, and typically their parents got donuts, so like
Yeah.
at the end of the day it was all fine. But I would go
Yeah.
to these churches.
You got to go to that Sunday
Yeah.
lunch.
I'd go to these churches and they'd be like referring to God as a man, and I was sitting there, I knew I was a feminist from the day I came out the womb, because I was like, no, wrong, no, I don't believe it, he's not a man.
I think for me is like I never had like, I remember sitting in church. I grew up going to Sunday school. I've gone to church many a times. I've had periods of my life where I went to church very regularly, even as an adult, and had eventually decided the churches started to get weird and I would leave because I couldn't find a normal church. I wonder why. Yeah, I wonder why. And I never saw God as like or Jesus. Like all of the depictions in my church were always of Jesus and stuff. And I don't even remember thinking about the fact. I don't even remember thinking about his gender. Like, it was just not something that like was ever on my mind until, except for the pronouns part of it. People would say like, ask him, pray to him.
I
God.
hated that.
Like when I think God, when I hear the word God, I didn't think gender. When I think Jesus, I'm like, oh, God had a son. Jesus Christ was a historically
Jesus
he's
Christ
a real
was
person.
a person. He was a dude for sure.
He was a man. He was a dude for sure. But to me, I know that it was like this whole thing of like the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. They're all kind of connected. But I was like, oh, that's God gave his son. That was the only idea of gender in like some higher entity form that I ever thought of. And I was like, yeah, he was a real dude. He was his son. But it never occurred to me that I was like, oh, that means it's all man? All of it? Like,
no, it's just so beyond
but then
like human comprehension.
But then you hear all these people that are like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Well, men did this and Adam and Eve. And I'm like, oh my God, you know what I saw the other day? Oh, actually, it might have been in this book. There was a line where the Archbishop is talking about something, and it was, maybe it wasn't in this book. I'm getting all my TikToks in this book mixed up because as I've been reading this, obviously the government spy in my phone knows what I'm doing. And so my TikTok algorithm has been like all witches and shit. Whatever, regardless. I saw it somewhere, maybe in this book, maybe on TikTok, and it was like some person saying, maybe the Archbishop in this, saying that Eve like manipulated and
I think that was in this book.
lured Adam in the book. Yeah, okay. I think it's the Archbishop. He's saying a thing where he's like, Eve did all of these manipulations and lured Adam into sin. And I would just like to point out that that's not true. That is one thing I do know.
Not Carrie coming on the record as a fucking priest. She said, and let me just stop you right there because that is factually false.
That's just not the case. Because I grew up in Southern Baptist Church being taught, like, whoa, everybody freak out. We're going to talk about periods for a second. That your period
was punishment.
Yes, everybody would always say it as almost like a joke. Like, they would be like, oh, well, gotta blame Eve. But it was never explained otherwise. They were like, oh, yeah, it was Eve's punishment for creating the first sin. And I was like, okay. So the one thing I did get from the last church I went to a couple years ago, before shit got weird, the preacher was talking about this, where he was saying, which, like, shout out to this dude. He was kind of the goat for this one, to say that he obviously is a preacher. He's read the Bible many times. Eve, yes, was manipulated by the devil in the Bible, manipulated by the devil to eat the apple, right? It said that the devil was the most cunning, charming, smart, whatever. He sounds like a man to me, manipulative fuck.
Yeah.
He got Eve to eat this apple. And Adam was not 20 miles away. Adam was like fucking there. He was watching her get manipulated.
And just stood by.
And his whole point in this sermon that day was that every couple within his church that has come to him for marital therapy, marital advice, marriage issues, or relationship issues. He's always said every woman I've ever talked to, for the most part, their struggles with their relationships and their love life has always been that they were deceived, the same way that Eve was deceived. With the men that he's talked to, it's always been a form of wanting to be a little rebellious, wanting to toe the line of how much power they can have, wanting to break some type of rule, see what they can get away with. In the same way that Adam was rebellious, Eve was deceived.
Yeah, and this is why men shouldn't have rights.
Yeah, sorry to get on my fucking soapbox there for a second. I just thought that was so interesting that they said that in this book. That it was like, he was up there like spouting all of these reasons that he was like, women are bad, women are inherently evil.
As if.
And I'm like, that is how a lot of churches talk about women too. And I'm like, shit, we just looked up paganism. Nothing in that was like devil worshippers.
No. It's literally like,
are you kidding?
Literally women gaining free will is so problematic to them. For what?
Well, and I thought it was so interesting to see a thing that was like this like paganism or whatever this girl on TikTok was calling it, witchcraft, I don't know, was like, this is the only belief system that brings women into the picture and values them, women. Right. That I was like, you're right. Like, I can't think of another. I know, like, in Catholicism, they have, like, the Virgin Mary.
But even then, what is she valued for?
Worship or
something. I don't know if this is, like, I would love to hear, like, another Catholic's point of view, because, like, I always say, like, oh, my family's Catholic. But they're not, like, we don't practice Catholicism, really. It's just that my grandmother was so beyond obsessed with Mary. Like, there's 4 statues of Mary in her rose garden in her front yard. Huh. The woman loves
And I'm not saying this to like
Mother
get
Mary.
On.
It's insane.
I'm not getting on here to like say all this shit. Like, I'm genuinely as somebody who is like, I would consider myself like a religious person, I guess. Like, it was just something I never even thought about, like being raised that way. Like, reading this book, I've always, if I'm gonna be so fucking for real right now, there would be certain things I would see, and sometimes on the internet it can be this way, like, don't trust everything you see on fucking TikTok.
Right.
But I would see things that were like, they'd be like, oh, this is paganism, or this is, you know, I'm a TikTok witch or whatever, using the tag, and then doing something that was along those lines. And there was always a part of me that was like, maybe this is bad. Maybe, are you doing something bad and you're just not telling me it's bad? Like, I was always like, there was always a little part of me that was kind of scared of it. And it was because I never, like, I think it was just so deeply ingrained in my brain that was like, the devil, witchcraft. Yeah. And I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, reading this book, I personally, we're reading this book because we have our little personal book club, and this was the one that everybody voted on. When we voted, I had no idea, really, that it was about,
no,
like,
I just saw Witch and Witch Hunter.
Kind of rooted in a lot of...
And I thought...
Yeah, I saw Witch and Witch Hunter.
And my immediate thought was
thinking
enemies
almost like,
to lovers.
Which, yes. Like, my thought was almost like Buffy the Vampire Slayer vibes. I didn't realize that it was a little rooted in, like, some... There's a little bit of historical fiction in here. Like, it's rooted in some historical stuff. I personally never... I don't think I ever would have picked up this book because... I'm totally exposing myself. I think I would have been a little scared.
What the fuck?
If I had known what was like happening, that it had to do with like an archbishop and the church, and because there was like, I don't know, there's a part of me that like almost didn't want to know, like didn't want to read about that kind of stuff. And but now I'm glad that I did, because again, I don't think I ever would have picked up this book, because I'm like,
feel like this mixed with, like, obviously I love romantasy, like I love Powerless, I love Nightbane, I love ACOTAR. This and like Addie LaRue type books, like the shit that brings in like the history side of things. Same with like Outlander, like the first season of Outlander where like she is a witch. Like, I don't know, that I feel like is my favorite genre. I could like,
I think with Outlander,
Outlander's
it
a
was
little
easier
different.
for me because it was so fantasy. And the thing is there's always been parts of me that I'm like, oh, it's all like mixed in with like the fairies and the fantasy and the lore of like Scottish and Irish fantasies and stuff like that. To me that has felt separate. Something about like when you bring in, it wasn't back then, it wasn't religion based. Like in Outlander it's not religion based necessarily. It is kind of. There were definitely like some witches and some people who are like, you're a witch burner. Like that's always been kind of a thing. But it being so intertwined
with religion,
I think I've definitely been afraid. Or like,
yes,
not afraid,
no,
but like
I know you
wary
have,
for
because
me personally to pick up.
Because I recommended that. What's it? What is that book? The Sinner.
It's like is it a dark?
It's
romance?
a dark romance. It's like the sinner, the sacrifice, the ritual, and something else. I think it's like a 4-book series. And I was like, Carrie, we should read this. And Carrie was like, I'm not sure that I want to read that. And I was like, fuckers. So I thought I was gonna have to read it on my own. But I really feel like, I mean, I don't know. I will still read it on my own.
Well, sometimes the dark romances that one might actually be like legit kind of scary. But I will read it. I'm not as.
You wanted to read Haunting Adeline.
I did. I'm not saying I won't read it.
I won't read Haunting Adeline. I definitely will. I'm jumping on any boat with you. For that one, it's more of like for the Sinner one, it's more of like the cover has like a man. Yeah,
on
I
it.
really don't like that the cover has a man.
I don't like that. I don't like that it's. I don't want the love interest to be some crazy.
But
like,
also,
I don't know, something like some like evil church.
Have you seen? Have you seen the Goodreads covers for the Twisted series? I hate them. Because they have them.
They're so bad.
The ones with like the real men on the cover.
They're so
like,
ugly.
I don't like the cartoon covers. We all know that's the thing.
But I don't like real
people
like
either. That more than I don't like the cartoon covers.
I agree.
Like
I agree. Do not put a model on the front of my book. That's also very exposing. You want me to read that in the airport?
Literally.
Get that grown man off the cover of my book.
Actually, like I can read this in public. Nobody knows what I'm reading about.
Yes. Honestly, I've gotten more not compliments, more like intrigue questions reading this in public. So people are like, "Oh, what is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's about witches." And you know what? Speaking of favorite genre or something, I do think with this, I have found my favorite trope. Forced marriage.
Yeah.
I have not read a forced marriage trope yet.
I don't think I have either.
And this what you made the TikTok for it that was like when the forced marriage husband, like
when it starts to turn into that is my wife.
That's my wife. Oh yeah, arranged marriage, forced marriage. I think that's a good trope for me because I'm having moments where I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, Reed, stand up for her.
Whenever this isn't like a huge spoiler, but when the archbishop like slaps her and he like grabs his hand and is like, if this is gonna be my wife,
if she's gonna marry me,
you cannot lay another hand on her ever again.
Yep. And there's a moment in here that I just got to where he has to leave and the archbishop is like, I'll stay with her, and you can tell he's like, don't do that. I hate that I'm pretty sure he does walk out the door. I hate that. Does. Don't leave her with that guy because I don't like his vibes.
I'm telling you, the fucking plot twist around the archbishop is fucking crazy. Last night, like, you can ask Brian. I was sitting in bed and I was like, I'm gonna read a little bit before I go to bed. And there's like, I ended up reading like 75 pages because I couldn't stop because there wasn't like a calm moment because shit hits the fan. And then there were so many times where I think there were 3 different occasions where I said, it got me. Like I was gasping. It was insane. I cannot wait for next week so we can talk about the actual book. Yeah. Oh.
But now I'm scared because I saw
Bailey's
review
McKenna
on
liked
Goodreads,
it.
And she didn't like how it
McKenna
ended.
liked it.
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
Bailey is the smartest woman maybe ever.
Maybe that we know.
She's ridiculously smart. And Bailey is my cousin, and she knows. She also, we can ask her because she went to Catholic school. She was the kind of part of the family that got more. My mom is not super religious. She never really instilled that in us. But her mother is more religious than my mother. So Bailey grew up in a Catholic, like a private Catholic school until 7th grade, 8th grade. I don't know. She went to a private Catholic school for a very long time. So she knows a lot about Catholicism. So I'm wondering, like, I'm ready to like pick her mind when we go to book club over this, because the woman knows a lot.
Yeah, we'll talk to her a little bit, because when we come back, surely we'll talk about this some more. But no, I want to do some real research.
I do too.
Into like paganism and like even like French witch trials and like even more, because I know some stuff about the Salem witch trials, and I learned a lot when I went to Salem in October a couple years ago. But it was really hectic. They do every weekend in October, they do like a Halloween festival, so it was like really chaotic. But now I'm like, I want to go back and do like a real deep dive into like I know that a lot of it was just like, that is just a woman that we don't like, we're gonna burn her as a witch. But I want to learn about the actual practices that some women were doing that we're looking at it now, maybe just pagan, maybe they were just this form of spirituality, but was seen as like witchcraft.
Hear me out.
And like dark magic.
I know we're going to Miami next month, which is October, obviously. We're going to Miami again for my 25th. We're going to Miami for Carrie's 25th for Taylor Swift. We're going to Miami to get crunk,
and then we're going to be in Miami for your 25th.
What if for your 26th, we book it on up to Massachusetts?
You know, it's not a bad idea.
And Carrie has the coolest birthday. She's got a October birthday, so she's my little witch queen.
I do. October 19th.
Yeah, so everybody tell Carrie happy birthday,
but also
on October 19th.
Oh, I'm surely I'll be nonstop annoyingly posting.
I already have your post ready. Like, I've made it a month and a half in
we're
advance.
Gonna be. Please, I love you. We're gonna be together for a week afterwards. So the amount of content that we're gonna be putting out,
you guys are not ready.
Just absolute tomfoolery. Tomfoolery. And one of the movies I want to watch when we're out there is it's a classic. I've never seen it before. Practical Magic.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either. And I know that I'm pretty sure that's the movie that starts with that TikTok sound that's like, always throw salt over your right shoulder, always do something and something something. And you know what I'm talking about? People use it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like from that movie. And I know it has what's her name? That actress. She's in Hope Floats. She's in The Proposal with
Sandra Bullock?
Ryan Reynolds. Sandra Bullock, she's in it.
Oh, I love Sandra Bullock.
And I'm excited. I can't wait to watch it. And there's this beautiful redheaded woman that's in it also.
Excellent.
Don't know her name.
Added to the TBR.
I'm very excited. We're gonna be on some. Yeah, I've had a whole list of movies we're gonna watch when I'm there. Can't wait.
Will tell you this after the podcast because it's something exciting and it doesn't need to be on the internet.
Oh.
But I also have other things to watch as well, which is super fun. But yeah, anyways, my whole point with that was we should tell Bailey and McKenna and we should make a book club trip to Massachusetts. And
that would be so fun. I will say there is one, like, some of the stuff on the witch stuff I see on TikTok. That's another reason I want to do some real research. I want to be able to like get the reels on my For You page or whatever and be able to know what's bullshit and what's not. Or at least have my own opinions of what's bullshit and what's not. Because I have been looking into a lot of more like astrology things. Been trying to become an astrology bitch.
Queen shit.
So loving that for me.
Yeah.
And been looking into that stuff, but now I'm like, okay, now I really want to know some more of these pagan
Yeah.
things, because also I'm like, if that's where all the Christmas holiday rituals come from, well, damn, let's just go full out.
No, that's really fair. I'm about to
Yeah.
become a full pagan.
Me too. I mean, I still have. I don't know what that means for me, because like,
I think
it's a spectrum.
well, I'm going to Can I say something outlandish?
Sure.
I think that religion can be exactly like sexuality and gender. You just don't have to specify. It's just nobody
I
else's
think you're right.
business. It's just something that you resonate with, and unless you want to go around flaunting it and and letting people know,
Yeah.
then I just think it's okay to keep it to yourself and do whatever
Yeah. No, you're
pleases
so
you.
right.
Like me and Brian were talking about
I
this
will
the
say
other
though, I
day,
am very.
and I just don't think I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, I'm gay, I'm straight, I'm this, I'm that. Well, how about it's none of your damn business? How about I'm going to
Yeah.
do what I want?
I'm with the person I'm with.
And same with religion.
Yeah.
I'm Christian. I'm blah blah blah. I'm this branch. How about I'm whatever the fuck I feel like? How about that?
Yeah.
How about them for your apples?
I
So
think.
that's what I think.
How about them for your apples? Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that we're reading this book, because I think that I knew that there were certain things that I was like a little scared to read, because I think it's because I just didn't want to read something that didn't. It's hard for me to like. I love reading so much, and I love fantasy so much, that I was scared of reading something that didn't resonate with me.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I was like, I don't know, what if they throw something in there that I can't resonate with, and then I can't read it.
Well, I mean, that's okay though, because
And
we've read pregnancy tropes. We don't resonate with that. And what
Yeah.
do? We just move on, say what the fuck was that, and and close,
Yeah.
finish the book and close.
That's so true.
I feel like there's
is
definitely more
knowledge
weight
is-
to religion.
I think knowledge is power, and knowledge is power to me, and I am excited to learn more about this, so that I can.
There's a book.
Sometimes I'm gonna say this on the internet publicly. Sometimes I do be sitting in my ignorance, and I think everybody does in certain
Yeah.
categories, and sometimes in religion and like my own beliefs, there are certain things that I just do be sitting in my ignorance occasionally, and I'm like, I don't think I want to do that anymore. Not with this.
Yeah.
Look at me. I'm growing.
Growth, my queen.
Growth.
There's a book that I want to read. What is it called? It's not like a this book, but I feel like I would enjoy it because, as the men on the internet would say, I'm a feminazi. Really, I just like
Please.
women, and I think we deserve rights, but I'm very loud and vocal about it,
Yeah.
which is scary.
As you should be.
But what's it called? It's something to do with like the Last Supper and women, and hold on, I'll find it because it's in my Amazon wish list, because I literally keep seeing it, and I can't stop thinking about it. Like, I've been scared to read it because it's not like nonfiction. So I've been nervous. Okay. It's not coming up. Let me see if I can find it. But I've been scared to read it because it's not like nonfiction, or it's not fiction. Like, I've just been, wait, what's nonfiction and what's fiction?
Nonfiction is true. Fiction is fake.
Okay. I think it's nonfiction. So I've been scared to read it because of that.
Because it's not fantasy.
And I'm afraid that it's going to be too smart for me.
I'm scared of books. I'm scared of a lot of people have lately have recommended me not biographies or anything that kind of nonfiction, but like almost like storytelling about true stories, or it's just like almost like a life book, or like makes you think about life. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, oh, that seems scary to me. That seems like it. You're recommending books. They're like, I'm like telling them about a hard time I'm going through, and they'll be like, oh, I have a book for you. Excuse me. Why would I want to read that?
Book for you. Okay.
But then they're like, no, seriously, this is like such a good book, and I'm like, okay, fuck, maybe, but I'm scared to read that shit. Like, I don't want to have an existential crisis.
I cannot be too self-aware. I really can't handle that.
Yes.
Like, I really can't. Trust me when I say it is for the best of everybody and everybody's well-being that I'm a little bit delusional. Okay, right.
I spend so much time sitting with my feelings and my thoughts. I need escapism.
I cannot
deeply
no,
in my
literally,
bones.
because if I am too self-aware, I will make it everybody's problem. Trust me when I say.
Oh, it won't even be on purpose.
No, literally.
I'll become like a black hole.
So real. Like, it is in everybody's best interest that we stay a little delusional. The book is called When God Was a Woman. And it's you just the title alone, I'm like, fuck, that sounds like I would like it, but I'm scared. I'm so
literally
scared.
Yeah, no, it's same.
It's a 1976 book by sculptor and art historian Merlin Stone. It was published earlier in the UK. What's it about, though? Where'd it go? It says, in which the historical practice of worshipping a sacred feminine comes under investigation. Wait, is this fiction? Fiction or nonfiction? What is it?
Does it say? Oh, well.
Wait,
who
guys,
knows?
how do you know when a book is nonfiction or fiction?
It'll normally say.
It's not saying.
On Amazon.
No. Nonfiction.
Huh. Okay, yeah. So it's true. Interesting. But you know what I have such a hard time with? I'm like, how do you know who to trust? Because I see, obviously, like, I am the biggest advocate for do not believe what you see on the internet. But then sometimes the internet can be a very cool place for finding a community. Yeah. That's what I want to have a community of BookTok girls. I'm like, if I want to, like we said a couple episodes ago, I want to get an astrology bitch on here. I want to get a TikTok witch on here. But I want you to sit down. I want y'all to talk me through this.
No, so same. Anyways,
I don't know. I think it could be cool and fun.
I also think it would be cool and fun to possibly read When God Was a Woman, but it talks about the system, like since it is nonfiction, I know it's going to talk about like the system of, the fucking patriarchy, and I know that shit's going to piss me
that makes me
off.
So angry. It makes me so angry, and mad. I am such an optimist. I am a sunshine girly. I am a glass half full girly, and it is so hard for me to look at things and be like, oh man, that's really shit, and there's nothing that can be done about it as of right now. And it makes me
I'm not like a super optimistic person.
I'm like trying to keep my cup full. I'm like, fuck no,
like,
please
stop
showing me bad things.
Spilling my water. Give me my fucking cup.
I'm running out. You keep telling me too many shitty things.
It's fucking evaporating.
Do you want me to be sunshine girl or not? Because I'll freak out. I'll freak out.
I fear that you and I are the for real grumpy sunshine trope.
We so are.
I always say, I'm like, I want a fucking trope. I want a book where the girl's grumpy. And it's just because I'm a raging bitch 99% of the time. And I'm pissed off about something every day.
Sometimes I'm like, when I get angry, I'm like, oh yeah, it feels good to be angry. But then sometimes I'm like, fuck, I don't want to be angry. It's going to make me cry. I was telling my friend Kennedy the other day, she had said like, that she says that she like doesn't cry very much. And I was like, oh, on a regular week, I cry every day. Like, and she just laughed. I'm like, I thought girls just be crying because I'd be crying on like a regular week. Yeah, something will make me cry and cry a lot. Sometimes like one time or a few days ago, I was just all I was doing was watching classic Disney movie. Was watching Sleeping Beauty. And the beginning of it and the intro, it just felt, I was watching it and it felt so nostalgic and it was so beautiful that I literally, like, I got, like, teary-eyed. Because I was like, it's just so pretty.
You know, okay, that's fair. Because I started crying the other day because I saw a TikTok about it. If I think about things too much, I will for sure cry. Yesterday
it's
when
like
I left the cat cafe, I almost cried.
Ugh.
Because then I was thinking about like all the cats that don't have homes. Hey, so actually punch me in the face.
Well, sometimes it's like like the reason I say like on a regular week I cry every day is because sometimes it's like a nostalgia cry or like something that I just think is so beautiful and I love so much. It's like a love cry. And I'm just like, or nostalgia is kind of a killer for me. If I start feeling nostalgic, I cry.
I get sick. I will feel sick.
If anything that strikes a chord with my inner child, I'm gonna start crying.
Bro, I was listening to, you know that song that I put on the playlist? It's by Death Cab for Cutie. Expo 96, is that what it's called? I don't know. It's this one specific song by Death Cab for Cutie. And in high school, you know, I really liked Death Cab for Cutie. And I was listening to it the other day, and it gives such fall vibes. It's like so fall. But I was sitting there, and I was like, oh, I am gonna fucking have a crisis. I'm gonna
yeah, dude. No, that happens to me sometimes when I'll listen to, like, I'm going to Disney World in a couple weeks, so I've been listening to a lot of Disney music. And I was in the car yesterday, and I was listening to, normally, like, I was in middle school when Frozen came out. And normally I don't really listen to, like, the Frozen soundtrack. But I was just listening through all the songs because I had this TikTok idea in my head that I'll tell you about after the episode's over. But I was listening to Do You Want to Build a Snowman? And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, I just let it play. And then it got to the end of that song where, like, the whole montage of their parents dying is happening and Anna goes to Elsa's door. And I also have 2 older sisters. And, like, I don't know, something about the way that she's at the door and she's like, please, I know you're in there. And people are asking where you've been. It's like, she sounds so sad. Yeah. But, like, I don't really watch Frozen. I never really listened to it, but I was like,
Frozen is so good.
The part where she says, they say have courage, and I'm trying to. I'm right out here for you. And I was like, ow! Shut the fuck up! Anna, chill!
You know what I cannot. I fucking love Frozen. I don't know why. I just, like, fuck so heavy with Frozen and Frozen 2. But the part in Frozen 2 where Elsa freezes and Olaf flurries away. That song. Hey, Disney. What the hell?
I have only listened to it. I've only seen Frozen 2. So Frozen 2 came out at the end of 2019. I saw it one time. Couldn't watch that again. I've listened to Frozen 2 soundtrack a lot because that soundtrack does bang. I listened to, the song is called The Next Right Thing.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
And the beginning of the song is literally, I've seen darkness before, but not like this. Oh my God. Disney, what the fuck?
Crazy.
We have got to watch that. Dylan's never seen it. I've got to show it to him.
Also makes me cry every time without fail. Like, I can just 100%. I have not ever listened to it or seen a clip of it and not cried. Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story? Hamilton.
Ooh, that
Can't
one's...
do it.
That one's
Can't
tough
do it.
too. That one's tough
I
too.
can't do
I never had a crazy
Ooh,
Hamilton
I fear
phase
I never grew out
like
of mine.
most people did.
It never went away.
I wish I had it because I listen to it. The songs are so good, and I want to know every single word, and I just don't.
It
drives me crazy. But then I hear the melodies of it.
Bro,
They're so beautiful.
We'll watch it when you're here. We'll watch it. It's
yes. I'll pull up the Google and I'll just be like reading the words and be like,
it's so who lives, who dies, who tells your story. Also, I saw something, and this isn't going to hit the same for you because you didn't have a Hamilton phase. Eliza is the only character who never raps, who like never, like speaks quickly.
I have
because
seen that.
she
Yep.
always had time.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Get out of my
yeah,
face.
I saw a thing that was like the concept of like the end of I've seen the show, but like the end of the show where it's like, oh, this wasn't Hamilton's story.
It was Eliza's story.
This was Eliza's. I love women.
I know.
Truly.
God. Ugh. Okay, so
Truly.
we should read When God Was a Woman. And
yeah, we should. Wow, heavy episode.
Sorry guys. We are book clubbers, but
sometimes you gotta be heavy.
But I don't even feel like
Sometimes.
this is heavy for us. Heavy for like a normal person.
But
probably
also
not.
we're talking about this book too, and these witches are hot. They sound hot.
Yeah.
I like them, and they're funny. This book also has a lot of comedic relief in it.
Lou is so funny.
There's a lot of funny shit. She's so funny. I like that they're using like modern day curse words. I think that's
so
really
modern
funny.
In a world.
I know, she's very modern. Every time Rita's like, could you please not talk like that? And she's like, what?
I can't say ass.
You want to talk about how you have a stick up your ass? You little bitch boy? Huh? And he's like, could you please not call me that? She's like, huh? You little pussy?
No, Lou is so funny, and I'm obsessed with her. But yeah, sorry, that was a little bit of a heavy episode. We love book club and we love books, but at the end of the day, we love women and we're feminists, and sometimes we just have to speak about it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But next week we'll be fully talking
with
about this
spoilers.
book, and I'm excited to see where I'm at. With that
I really hope the plot twist doesn't piss me the hell off.
Me too, because it's a trilogy, and I want to read
the other two books.
Bad.
They
are beautiful.
This is the second one.
Y'all know we can appreciate
Blood
a pretty
and Honey.
book.
Beautiful. And then the third one.
Love that.
Gods and Monsters.
That sounds like a cocktail. Blood and Honey sounds like a cocktail.
We should
do fantasy cocktails.
We totally should. Yeah. But yeah, so really hope that the book is not shit and doesn't piss me off, because also Gods and Monsters has got to be long,
it's really good,
because Serpent and Dove is a little over 500 and Gods and Monsters is like a good chunk bigger than like size wise.
Yeah,
it's gonna be at least, I'm assuming, 650.
I'm excited about it.
I'm so excited. Also, eventually one day we will get to Ruthless Vows.
Yes, we will. I don't think it'll take us that long.
I don't either. But also we are starting.
We're starting Throne of Glass,
you guys,
this week.
We are starting it.
Very excited. I don't know when we're gonna do an episode on it, like we said last episode, I think, but we'll keep you updated. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Goodreads to keep up with what we're currently reading. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram. We also post what we're currently reading, and any updates on book club, like posting or what episodes coming up, we post on Instagram. So make sure you're following us. All of it will be linked below.
Yeah. And we'll see you next Friday.
See you next Friday.
Bye.